Shalom.
On that note, Jordan, you've been in a lot of training camps. You've worked with a lot of different head coaches. What sticks out to you about Dave and his message to the team and the rhythm of training camp under him?
Yeah, Dave always comes in with very positive energy that I think exudes throughout the locker room. He's told us from the very beginning, guys, this team's going to go as far as you guys want to take it. And he's completely right. I love the fact that Dave is always telling the truth. I've heard a couple of his interviews with you guys. He doesn't sugarcoat stuff. He tells the truth. He's the same way with us in the building. So you like being around a guy who's whole, who's the same around you and when he's not around you. And I think a lot of the guys respect that, and it makes you want to win for a guy like that. So, I played for some really, really good coaches. I literally was just at the Niners with Shanahan, and, he was very similar. He just says it how it is. I think all players respect coaches who are willing to just go ahead and say the truth, so that way we know how to go forward. So, yeah, I really have been enjoying this camp under Dave. He's doing everything that you would expect, a head coach to do to get his team ready.
You've also worked with, Kyle and Doug Peterson, who were basically the head coach,
and
the play
caller,
caller, and in some ways the quarterback's coach. That's a lot to take on.
Motivator.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot to take on.
Yep.
How has he done so far in being able to manage all those jobs from a player's standpoint?
I think he's done an amazing job, and I'm just excited to continue to just go through camp with him. Being in the game and being in the huddle, now we're getting to more play call periods instead of it just being scripted. So I love hearing what Dave and what Brad are cooking up back there to continue to attack the defense. So look, I'm just going out there every day and trying to figure out, all right, how can I fit into this thing best as possible? But at the same time, man, I think obviously Dave's doing an amazing job. So I'm just really glad to be able to play for him.
You're at practice like 30 minutes before basically everyone.
Yeah.
What are you getting out of those early reps before practice?
Yeah, I tell people all the time, because like some of the guys see me leaving, I'm like, ain't nothing left for me in this locker room. Everything that God got for me on this grass, and I have meaningful conversations with a lot of the guys. Probably more than anybody. I love connecting with all of my teammates, getting to know them, getting to know their families. But we can do that after practice. It's time to go, and I got kids to pay for private school for, so playing boo-ray and all that, playing ping pong, that don't do nothing for me. I need to get out here, get my body going, get my mind right, because I love this game, and you got to respect it. And the second you don't, you'll be done with it. So.
Was that always your approach, or was there a pivotal moment for you where you made that shift?
No, that's always been the way I've been. I think there's tweaks to how I approach the game. I think when I was younger, it was always just go, go, go. Now there's more of a recovery aspect to it with the age. But at the same time, I've always felt like you had to put the time in. I was fortunate enough to have parents that both showed me what work ethic looked like. My dad was always up in the morning, shirt, tie, ready to go to work. And even my mom. My mom's a computer engineer. She worked for NASA, worked for the Department of Defense. And she came up in a time when, they wouldn't even let her wear her natural hair to work. She had to get it straight. So I'm like, Mom, you get up, you work out, you do your hair, you get dressed, and you get food on the table for us. So I saw parents that put the work in and put the time in. And so I feel like that's my responsibility now as a father and as a husband to do that for my family. So I take a lot of pride in having the ability to go do what I love to do, especially for an organization like this. So I just think there's a respect level you got to have when you have the opportunity, and you got to give that back.
What did your mom do at NASA?
She was a computer engineer, and I'm not smart enough to answer the rest of that question. Okay, you almost got me. Yeah, but no, both actually heard. So I'm from Huntsville, Alabama, where the U.S. Space and Rocket Center is, and also where Redstone Arsenal is. So my dad also works for the Department of Defense. So like I said, they do stuff that's way over my head, but at the same time, I pieced enough together to know that they weren't leaving home just to go, play around. They was getting stuff done. So it's good.
Did she know the ladies from Hidden Figures?
You know what's funny is she did not, but my mom was very similar to those. Like, so you can ask my mom, like, hey, what's 56 times 40? And she'll give you the number. Like, she's just a genius. My brother's an engineer too. So, like, my whole family's smart, and I'm getting my head crashed in, but, but I got to Vanderbilt, so people think I'm smart at least. So it was good, it worked out.
Jordan, this transition to tight end's been mostly behind the scenes over the last few years. When you came into the league, you were number one wide receiver, getting a lot of targets, not playing special teams. How have you grown as a blocker, as a tight end, as a special teams player behind the scenes with San Francisco, with Carolina?
That's a great question. I think when I was a receiver, I'd played that position since I was a kid. So much of it was natural. Like I said, I did put the work in. I always wanted to be great at what I did. But at the same time, there's a monotony in doing something over a long period of time that you think you're intentional, but you do let some things slip through the cracks. When I actually called Kyle, and no coach made me change the tight end. I called Kyle Shanahan because my last couple years with them, I was doing a lot more blocking. I was doing a lot more things that I felt fit the tight end position there as opposed to receivers, because they were switching to more like jet sweeps and stuff they do with Debo and IU, that positional stuff. And I was like, I feel like I'm doing more stuff that Kyle Juszczyk is doing, stuff that Kittle's doing. And so when I called and asked him, what he thought about me switching, he was like, look, I love you running against safeties and nickels, so let's do it. The thing that he told me, though, was he was like, if we're going to take you seriously, though, you have to get to at least 235 pounds. And at that time, I was like 215. And he said, if you can get there by July 4th, we'll give you a shot. And this was like 2021. And I was like, okay, July 4th, what days? It was May 30th. So he gave me a month to gain 20 pounds. and I knew he still wanted me to be able to run the same way I could run. He wanted me to be a receiving tight end. But what it did was it forced me to go to another level of preparation. I could just wake up and be a receiver, but to put on 20 pounds, not lose weight, not gain 5% body fat, and still be able to play football at a high level was tough. I never used to think about what I just ate that much. But at that point, I got a chef. I was eating at 5:30, 8:30, 11:30, 2:30, 5:30, and 8:30. 10 ounces of grains, 4 ounces of protein, a couple veggies. I ate so many freaking digestive enzymes that make your head spin to get food down. And then protein shakes mixed in after workouts. I never had to put that much time into a process before playing receiver. It was just, what do I do on the field? That process, it didn't escape me at all times. Like, what's my weight like? How's my body feel? What's my inflammation like? So it just took me to another level of the grind, but I realized at that point, like, I really do love this. I really do love it, and this is what I've always wanted to do, and it just continued to push me. Playing special teams, that's just part of the game. I don't look at football as it's not as segmented anymore. It's not like, I only get excited on third down because I know I'm about to get the ball. I only get excited in the red zone when I'm about to score a touchdown. A tight end position, first, second, third, fourth as a special teamer, it's a holistic game and a holistic approach that I look at football now. And I think that's also been cool about this whole growth. So I've really enjoyed it. I kind of wish I would have probably done it even sooner, man, because I think I'm a better man because of the tight end position. So I've really I really liked it a lot, I should say.
Was there ever like a
Ladies first.
was there a concern to be switching positions that late in your career? Was there ever a worry like this might not work out?
No, there was never really a worry. I will say one, I've never taken that like fear approach. I've always said if you go after something like with all intentionality, you're probably going to end up, if you don't hit that, you'll be successful in something else. I think people are always like, what if football never worked out? Well, I worked so hard at football, I probably became a coach because I would have learned enough to be good at something else. And also, too, just to be honest, at that point, the 49ers was the only team I'd been with the last 4 years. There were a couple lulls in there where I wasn't with the Niners, and nobody would call until Kyle called again. And so it's like, well, are you afraid to go to tight end? Because you might. It's like, well, ain't nobody else calling. So I'll go to tight end, I put some weight on, and then the phone started ringing. Jets called me to work me out. The Colts called me, Falcons. And then obviously the Niners brought me back. I was able to do enough good things on film. And then obviously Carolina finally made that call, which has been amazing. So I never really worried about that. Like I said, I don't go at life with that fear mindset. You just got to go. You got to go. You got to trust it. And usually good stuff will happen if you're doing it the right way.
You got time for T.I.? I know you don't get matched up against Jason Bourne really, but when he's on the field, what's different than when he's not on the field?
I call him 100 mil horn because that's how much he works, man. He's a beast. And I've been around some really high-level corners. And I mean, I obviously studied him going against. I went against Dale Reeves my second year, so I know what I'm talking about when I look at him. And he reminds me a lot of Ramsey. Long, extremely athletic, very smart too, competitive as all get out. Team periods. I mean, he's trying to shut down half the field. So I'm excited for him. I'm always trying to just speak life over him because I know he's had a rough couple of years with things that are totally out of his control. So I'm just praying for health over him so that he can go out here and show people what he can really do. But obviously he's a phenomenal cornerback and athlete.
What have you seen from Bryce and his growth heading into his second season?
Yeah, I've seen a ton. I think this staff has done a great job of just instilling that much more confidence in him. Bryce has always been talented. He's always been able to make the throws. He's a great leader. Dave actually in one of his first meetings talked about, he used the word covering. I've never heard a coach use that word before, but he talked about how even the staff he assembled, from Scott to Brad, he's got a lot on his plate, and so he got people that he felt like could cover him. And what that means is, like, those people instill confidence in you, but they also keep all the other stuff out. So I've seen enough good stuff from Bryce to let me know that what he needs is we got to cover him, okay? Like, from the receivers to the O-line to the running backs, that's protection, pass game, in the media. What we say, we've got to cover that young man because he's got a lot on his shoulders, but godly, he's a winner. I mean, you don't just wake up one day and win a Heisman. I tell people all the time, you see somebody at the top of a mountain, they ain't get dropped off there, all right? They climbed it. So he's really good, and I've seen enough things from him. Like I said, I was with 13 in San Fran back when he was running with the threes, and I was calling my mom. I was like, hey, this guy's kind of nice, and obviously, look what he's been able to do. But he's got some covering. And we've got to be able to do that for him. And I'm excited to be a part of that whichever way I can be. So, yeah.
Thank you, Jordan.
All right.